New year, new goals. The cycle repeats, right? Let's face it, every new year we set ambitious goals with the best intentions only to find ourselves drowning in a sea of overwhelm, forgetting half of them by February. Sound familiar? If you're tired of the cycle of unmet resolutions and the frustration that comes with it, you're not alone. In this video, we're tackling the pain points of goal planning, and I'll be offering practical solutions that not only simplify the process but make success not just a possibility but a certainty. So stick around and let's make this year different. Spill it on the sheets of paper, of course. We're going to start with doing a brain dump to get everything out of your mind and on a piece of paper. Usually, when the new year is right around the corner, we get overzealous and decide to do hundreds of things in just 1 year. So when you put pen to paper and spill everything that's on your mind, it frees up the mental space in your brain that those ideas were occupying. So now you'll have a less overwhelmed brain with more mental bandwidth to do the planning. So the first thing that I want you to do is spill everything on your mind on a piece of paper or an app on your phone. These things can be your goals or tasks or projects that you have to and want to get done. Don't think about if they're big or small or trivial or urgent. Just dump everything out of your brain. Some examples of this could be removing the weeds from your garden, booking your dentist appointment, setting up a passive income stream, organizing your bedside table, learning French. So you see, it can be a mix of tasks and goals. Now once you spill everything out, categorize them into goals and tasks. Make the quick wins checklist. Out of the task section, I want you to figure out the tasks that are small that you can do in one go and be done with them. There are two reasons why we're doing this. One, tackling these small doable tasks will give you an immediate sense of accomplishment and it will get you in the momentum, making you feel good about what you're achieving even before the new year starts. And the second reason is that there is no magic wand that suddenly grants us more time in the new year. When you cross off these tasks now, you're essentially lightening the load for your future self. Think of it as a gift you're giving to the you of the new year. Less to worry about and more time to focus on what truly matters. These quick win tasks are usually these pending, mundane life admin tasks that help us keep our lives running smoothly, like booking doctor's appointment or getting your car cleaned, but they're so boring that we just keep procrastinating on them. For example, at the start of the year, I decided to get all my medical papers digitized, especially my dental records, which as you can see is an ongoing treatment right now, and also because it's safer that way. I lost my medical papers once in a food court of a mall. Fortunately, I had my phone number at the top of the folder, so someone called me and gave them back. And the second time, I was walking from the parking lot to the dental block at Ames, which is where I'm getting my treatment from, and it started raining and the papers almost got wet. So I want to keep all the records safe in case I lose the physical copy. Another one for me is to organize my B-roll folder. If you look at my B-roll folder right now, you'll see how badly disorganized it is. It's a complete mess. None of the files have names or categories. I just want to be able to easily find whatever file I'm looking for to put them in the videos, which cannot happen with my current folder structure. If you're using a pen and paper, highlight them so that we can get to them once we're done planning our goals, which brings us to the fun part, planning our goals. Failing to plan is planning to fail. We've all heard this saying, but planning for the right things is as crucial as planning itself. And I'm saying this from experience because I have tried so many fancy planning systems, including setting a goal for every area of your life or using the level 10 goal planning system, and I found that they just stay written on paper and I never get to them because it's not practical, at least for me. So before we jump straight into inking our goals, I want to share two theories and one metaphor with you that will help us plan our goals realistically. The 4-burner theory. It's an analogy that suggests that our life is like a stove with 4 burners, each representing a different aspect of life: work, family, health, and friends. The idea is that in order to be successful in any one burner, you may have to turn down the heat on one or more of the others. Now I want you to pay attention to this. you may have to turn down the heat on one or more burners and not completely shut it off. Also, the 4 broad aspects of life according to me are work, personal, relationships, and fun. We never prioritize one, and we should, because why else are we here on the planet? We're here to enjoy life and not work and die. So fun should be our priority, and each of these broad categories can be further divided. The theory of constraint. This theory says that you're only as fast as your slowest constraint. So if you're driving a car, you're only as fast as your flattest tire. It doesn't matter how expensive and good the other tires are, you can only move at the pace that is the fastest for your flattest tire. The domino effect. As per the metaphor, let's say that there's a line of dominoes standing upright. When you tip over the first domino, it sets off a chain reaction, causing each subsequent domino to fall. In the context of goal setting, every goal that we have should be connected to each other so that achieving one goal can help the accomplishment of other connected goals. Let me give you an example. Let's say that one of your goals is to pay off your credit card debt. Now, having another goal of going on a trip abroad will obviously contradict with your credit card goal instead of helping with it. So now I want you to select 3 goals for yourself. Just 3 goals that you want to achieve in the new year. We're selecting just 3 because, as we learned in the 4-burner theory, we will be turning up the heat in the areas of our goals and turning down the heat in other burners. So we're basically balancing various aspects of our life. Also keep in mind to choose goals that are sort of interconnected because of the domino effect. For this, you can reference the list we already created during our brain dump session earlier in the video. Take a look at the goals section and select the top 3 most important goals that you absolutely want to achieve in the new year. Now, while you're selecting your top 3 goals, I want you to keep the theory of constraint in your mind and pick your biggest constraint as one of your top 3 goals. The reason for that is that we're only as fast as our slowest constraint, and so by making our slowest constraint our goal, we can increase the speed of our slowest constraint and achieve more. Let me explain this with the same car analogy. If we can only move as fast as the flattest tire, then even if we're unable to fix the puncture of the tire, we can at least pump some air into it so that we can slow down its damage and can move faster than we were when it was completely flat. I hope this makes sense. Let me know if it does by commenting "pump some air" in the comments below. Let's take my example to understand this even better. My 3 goals are produce content consistently for YouTube and Instagram by posting X videos in X number of days, improve my gut health, and the third one is personal. Now, my slowest constraint is my health. So I have so many good ideas for videos. I have an amazing bullet journal planner which is customized to my needs. I have specific studio equipment like backdrops, studio lights, and a phone which has one of the best cameras that can easily compete with a DSLR. But none of that matters. No matter how much I try to get done in a day, if my health is not going to support me, I would only be able to drag myself forward this much, and that too forcefully. So I have health as one of my goals so that I can improve it, and ultimately that will help me achieve my other 2 goals easily. So go ahead, write down your top 3 goals for the year. The next step is to chunk up your goals. And for doing this, we need to figure out what kind of goals we have set for ourselves. Goals can be of 2 kinds: process-related goals and tasks-related goals. A process-related goal is where you have to follow the same set of tasks and repeat them every day or every week or every month. And these are the goals that are never really complete. For example, growing my YouTube is a goal that I can never check off and say, okay, I'm done with this and I don't have to do it again. No, I have to create videos one after the other in a regular interval of time, and I have to repeat the same process for every video. Or a more relatable goal would be to become lean. I cannot go to the gym 5 times and say that I'm done. I cannot even say that once I reach my goal inch measure. I don't measure weight, I measure inches because weight is not the right metric for measuring health. So even when I reach my goal, I cannot stop going to the gym because then I would have to maintain that body. So I can never check off off going to the gym as done. Some other examples of this could be learning a new instrument or self-improvement journey. On the other hand, a task-related goal is where you have a series of to-do items that you can check off one after the other, and after completing all the tasks, you're done with the goal. An example of this could be buying a car. You have financial goals for saving up a certain amount for down payment, and then you have monthly EMIs, and once you're done paying them off, you can check off that goal. Some other examples could be writing a book, planning an event, or home renovation. Once you figure out the type of your goal, you can then break them down either into habits, systems, and processes, or into tasks. Let's start with process-related goals first. Something that was rightly said is that the secret of your success lies in your daily routine. So for your process-related goals, think what you want to achieve by the end of the year, and then figure out what you can do daily or on a regular interval to achieve that goal. Basically, you want to break down your goals into habits or routines or systems. For example, for my health goal, one of the habits that I want to adopt is going to the gym 6 days a week. Or for my YouTube goal, I want to record videos every Sunday. Now, what I've observed is that while planning for habits or routines, especially for the new year, we think that we'll sleep as our current selves on New Year's Eve and wake up as this completely different person on New Year's that has all the time and energy to do 100 things without any constraints, which is obviously not true. Nothing is going to change between 31st December and 1st January. You'll have the same constraints, the same financial situation, the same health, and the same structure of your day. So you have to break down your goals into habits and routines by looking at your typical day and first figuring out your non-negotiables and how much time they take up in your day. So if you're a parent, a non-negotiable for you could be dropping your kids at school. You also have non-negotiables that help you function as a human being, like showering, brushing your teeth, eating, cooking, cleaning. Or you might have things that you absolutely have to do that are not goal related, but you need to do them in order to work for your goals. Like for me, I need to set up my bullet journal every week to be able to plan and get things done. For you, it could be budgeting or doing your laundry. So I want you to write down what your non-negotiables are on a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis. This will help us see how much time we actually have for our goals in our lives. So now we have a list of all the habits that we want to adopt and all the things we currently do. Now we're going to plan by utilizing two things: habit stacking and habit replacement, because we want to keep things simple and easy, otherwise you won't do it. So if you have 4 shelves and the top shelf requires you to use a stool to access whatever is on it, and if you put your body lotion that you use daily on that top shelf, I can guarantee you that for a couple of days you would use it, but then you'll start getting annoyed while using it, and then you'll either stop using it or put it somewhere where it's easily accessible. And that is exactly what we're trying to do, making it easily accessible so that you stick to it. So let's start with habit stacking, which is a practical strategy for building positive behaviors without having to overhaul your daily schedule. The idea is that the established habit serves as a cue or trigger for the new habit. Over time, as you consistently pair the two behaviors, they become linked in your mind and the new habit becomes ingrained in your routine. So we're going to habit stack using 3 simple steps. Identify an existing habit. Choose a habit that is already a part of your daily routine. It can be something as simple as brushing your teeth, making your bed, or having a cup of coffee in the morning. Select a new habit. From the list of habits that you want to adopt, select the new behavior that you want to incorporate in your routine. Stack the habit. Now you simply attach the new habit to the existing one. For example, when I was trying to make apply sunscreen every day a habit, I stacked it with brushing my teeth. So as soon as I was done brushing my teeth, which is the first thing that I do every morning, I washed my face and applied sunscreen. Now it has become an ingrained part of my routine. Another habit for me was doing neck stretches as soon as I sit on the bed after waking up. The next strategy is habit replacement. We obviously don't have unlimited time in the day to stack one habit after the other. So another thing we can do is replacing the habits that we are not happy with the habits that will help us accomplish our goals. So write down which habits you want to replace and with what. For example, if your goal is personal growth, You could replace a habit of social media scrolling in the morning with reading a book for 15 minutes or so. Or if your goal is to become healthier, then instead of grabbing a packed or processed snack between 4 to 6 p.m., which is when we get super hungry and it's not dinner time yet, choose a healthier snack like fruits and nuts, a sandwich, or leftover from breakfast or lunch. Once you have all your habits figured out, for every habit, ask yourself, why don't I do this already? Instead of, how can I do it? By asking this simple question, you can figure out the simple tweaks that you can make in your environment or routines to be able to do those habits easily. For example, let's say that you plan to eat more fruits and you ask yourself, why don't you do it already? You might find that you only stock up on difficult to eat fruits like pomegranate or pineapples instead of something super easy to eat like a banana. I'm not saying that you should never eat pomegranates or pineapples, but when you're trying to establish a new behavior, you should make it as easy as possible, and once it becomes a habit, you can eat as many pomegranates as you want and you won't feel as much resistance as you would in the initial phases of adopting a new habit. So ask yourself this question for every habit and write down what you come up with. Now that you have a plan for your process-related goals, let's move on to task-related goals. These are very simple to plan and you simply need to reverse engineer your goals and create a checklist. Let me give you some examples. Let's say your goal is to write a book. So you reverse engineer and figure out the exact milestone before publishing a book, which may be a book launch event. But before that, you'd have to sign a publisher. The step before that could be to have meetings with different publishers, and before that, you would have to research and find some publishers. Before this, you would obviously have to have your manuscript ready. I hope you're getting the idea. Another example could be a DIY bookshelf. So your goal would be to have a bookshelf you made in a particular spot of your room. But for that, you would need to move the bookshelf from where you built it to your desired location. And for that, you would have to check and ensure that the bookshelf is sturdy enough. And for that to happen, you would have to paint the bookshelf. And before that, you would have to sand and finish the surfaces and make them smooth. But for that, you would need to assemble all the parts and you would need to cut the parts of desired lengths to assemble them. The strategy is to come up with the list of items without missing any. Oh, that was a lot of intense planning, wasn't it? So now that we're done with the intense part of our goal planning for the year, let's move on to the less intense parts. So we have planned our top 3 goals for the year, but what about the rest of the goals that we brain dumped earlier? Well, you can pick 3 secondary goals that would be nice to achieve in the year, but it won't matter as much if you don't achieve them this year. You can do the same for these secondary goals and chunk them up the same way we chunked up our top 3 goals. The next part is to find some do more of goals. So these are the goals from your brain dump section that are not top priority goals, but things that you would generally want to do more of. Maybe you want to improve your relationship with your friends and you decide to go 6 times on dinner with them in the year. Or maybe you want to have more fun and would like to attend 2 concerts this year. So far in this video, we have already established that planning is crucial and we have also planned our year. But what is even more important than any of this is to take action. None of this would work for you if you do not take any action. So don't get trapped into planning paralysis and let's create an action plan. From our brain dump, we have the quick wins checklist ready with us. After this video and this planning session, start by completing these tasks so that you won't have to worry about them in the new year. Next, I want you to look at your habit sections, and depending upon how many you have, I want you to assign new habits to every quarter or every month. Just make sure not to introduce more than 2 new habits every month or else you won't stick to them. From your task-related goals checklist, I want you to assign tasks to every quarter, and then from each of these quarters, I want you to assign these tasks to each month that you want to complete them in. And your yearly goal plan is ready. So something important that I want to mention, especially about habits and routines, is that you should aim for doing a habit 4 to 5 times a week instead of every day, because our bodies are different every day, especially for women. Expecting a robotic routine or a robotic output from a human body is wrong. Some days you might feel very energetic and other days you won't. And you never know what curveball life throws at you. Like 2023 was a year where I wanted to focus on my health and YouTube, and I was doing okay. I posted a YouTube short for the entire month of April. I was getting the hang of staying consistent, and I was almost halfway through with my lean body goal as well. But then my dad met with an accident in March and was bedridden for a month. But I tried to keep up with my goals and also do his share of work. But then he had 3 eye surgeries between April and August, and he had to lie in prone position for 15 days after the 3rd surgery. And because of lying in the prone position all throughout the day, he now has some neurological problem where both his hands get numb and stiff. So we're running to neurologists to get that fixed. I mean, this year I have made countless trips to the hospital, and between April and October, I was taking dad to the hospital every other day for follow-ups after the surgeries, and I had to do it all alone because first, these were not planned surgeries. We went to the doctor because dad saw some floaters and we thought they would give him some medicine, but then they said he needs an emergency surgery right then. So within 15 minutes from his checkup, he was in the OT. Mom was at home and I was there all alone. And second, I don't share my problems with others that easily. I'm more of a suffer in silence kind of a person. Although I did make the mistake of sharing it on Instagram this time, and it turned out to be a huge mess, which is a story for another time. But I'm never doing that again. Anyway, basically I started this year with loads of enthusiasm and a plan to fulfill my goals, but nothing went as planned. And instead of making progress, I went downhill. So by April, if I was 50 steps near my goal, I was dragged 60 steps behind. I mean, I was planning for a lean body by the end of this year, and here I am sitting with gut issues because your gut gets directly affected by stress. My PCOD is back that I had reversed by April this year. I had pancreatitis, I have adrenal fatigue. I mean, my adrenal glands are literally tired by constantly pumping out cortisol because of the constant stress I've been under. The point of sharing this whole story with you is to show you that sometimes things don't go as planned. And so instead of expecting every day to be perfect and going exactly as you planned, be flexible, give yourself enough room to deal with uncertainties, and pivot according to circumstances. And no matter what, never give up. And don't forget to keep loving and keep dreaming. This is Ruchika Srivastava signing off.